and my distinguished colleagues on the podium and the distinguished audience. I thought that Mr. Sharma might stay back so that I can make it a little livening up the station. A very important topic that has been included this year in E-India 2010 conference. This is the sixth time I'm appearing in this conference, and previously in Telecenter, then e-agriculture, in many other areas. But since I've left ICT for development for more inclusive growth and financial inclusion area, this is the first opportunity in India. We are speaking on this very important subject. The title of this particular station, which is normally for 15 to 20 minutes, I'm trying to bring it down to the permission of the chair by latest 8 to 10 minutes. Demystifying the desire. We have a desire and we are proceeding. Now, why financial inclusion? That we need to understand the basics of after such glorious, and we are basically rated as one of the top 8 countries in the world today, and competing with China to have the global audience and every airports and all those beelines from all over the world. This is the situation. The very byline, this Asia-Pacific and Latin starts serious questions. How long are we going to subsidize West's deficit? And we see G20 countries, high growth list with poor HDI. If we could bring the poorer majority to have more money at their disposal. And what's financial inclusion per se? Because we seem to have in many conferences a lot of definitional imbroglio. This is precisely what the Rangarajan Committee has prescribed, which means access to credit at an affordable rate when it's most required. Now, we have been talking about the MDG, and in fact, I'm privileged to be invited to the United Nations Commissions in London, happening in 20th to 22nd, so we need to prepare ourselves, and I'd like to briefly touch upon why we have moved over to Africa for financial inclusion, which during the presentation will be coming up. These are the hard facts. I don't need to elaborate, but every conceivable data reads about it that we are woefully short in most of the targeted ones. We are having almost 7 to 10% of compounding growth, physically challenging China to be one of the top leaders in the world, and consistently have been dismally performing in most of the key parameters for development. We have the best policies of e-governance, sleep in ICT ranking. We are the best of financial inclusion and a problem. Now, these are the points that I wanted to tell you about one by one. Since time as a reference, I skipped the earlier slide. You can access. These are the basic benchmarks that I've been referring to. When you talk about the financial inclusion and a deepening, this is the level of financial deepening we had compared to other nations. This was done. This has been continuing for quite some time. It was been compiled by Mandir Sharma of IC Akriya, which reflects that why we started late. Now, let's go back to a little bit of history. How it happened to the world, why we started thinking about that. This is the early move Brazil, and how they have managed, which we are taking a leaf out of that is the correspondent model and the agent-led models. Brazil, we talk about Brazil a little bit. I will refer to M-Pesa and the M-Cash story in Kenya, and then Smart and other Wing and etc. in other countries, how they have taken a leapfrog. But it appears the right-hand, left-hand syndrome is always very paramount in Indian sinology. We have the best of the services, like Charles Dickens is the way. It's the best of time, it's the worst of time. And I was about to tell yesterday and to Mr. Sharma that 5-year timeline to UI, the financial inclusion cannot wait till it is attained. We need to proceed at a faster pace. Now, this was happened in 1999 when the agent-led model started. Then they started the Payment and Settlement Act much earlier than India did, which is just about done in 2008 and 9. So the stored value regime cannot be exploited. This is the basic examples that how they continue to the postal union clarification. How many bank branches do you have? I think about 57,000, or is it 70,000. How many post offices do we have? 150,000. We do not have any conceivable roadmap as yet to bring those in line for faster deliveries of services as yet. Two silos. It cannot be bridged. I was asking Dr. Chakraborty, the Deputy Governor, who's basically spearheading the financial inclusion. Look at this slide. If you want to look at the Brazil's performance or postal union, you have a detailed report that how they have been able to do. Look at 1999, look at 2004. That's how you make the roadmap and make it financial deepening happen. This is not very relevant for us because it's more for the second slide, for the more banking regulators another perspective. Evaluating access. Look at the pink line. Look at the other line, how the least popular to semi-deciles and most popular the functionalities change. And GDP perspective. This is how it happened in Brazil. So that's a way forward in financial dipping in that country, despite the huge growth potential that India has been logging since the last 4-5 years. This is basically the roadmap and how they have able to capture the ideas and all that. This is the international trends. And go through the slides very quickly, and this is the India. We started with Khan Committee, then we came the BCBF model and all that. There are innumerable changes. I mean, we were one of the pioneers in bringing in about 40,000 ICICI Bank customers in flat 3 months' time with the smart cards. It's been owned up now. No service deliveries, and they're being compensated for wasting their huge amount of money and time to acquire that because of the change regime and all that. I hope that some more legacy, since Mr. Singh mentioned today that this has been announced that more profitable companies will be allowed in within. This is look at the M-Pesa story. Even today we tend to debate that whether remittances is a financial inclusion or not. But that will lead to more of a solid, the people need to know what is there for. Why do you open an account? By adding no frill account to the tune of 41 million, we don't have even 11% of them functioning today. At a huge cost. Whose benefit? So this is the international scenario where these initiatives and other moves have gone on to a big scale from M-Pesa, contributing roughly about 10 to 11% of the GDP in the former, but the individual saving to the tune of $3 to $4. And from the remittances, they moved on to Itaiba to Equity Bank in the month of May. This in Kesho. That's the trajectory that we need to tend. Because somebody was mentioning that if you have to transfer 100 rupees, you pay 25 rupees a price, which is, at this today's cost, it's basically eating away a lot of floatable money. I'm just cutting down this. There has been this challenges going on, bank versus telco. Because banking structures were made, it's a long history. The telecom companies, particularly the mobile initiative, is about 20-25 years old, maybe 30 years old. If you look at the credit card history coming to India and even not even going to the tier 2 cities at this moment, it will take a long time if you continue to the same space. But time is a baby. We need to move ahead for that. Initially, zero frill account has opened up. Now we are saying that we are going to give 400, 500 rupees, let them give it. Then only some form of financial inclusion is happening. I was, in the month of June, is another conference. 5 or 6 bank different functionaries were there. Who's going to tax 400, 500 rupees out of the what cover? Then innumerable issues are also there. Is it going to happen? Can we pilot it? Well, I leave it to the chairperson to elaborate on that and how it make it possible. There is a developing world scenario. It's here, is going to financially, is going to work on a mobile financial inclusion at a great way. The developed world, they have ubiquitous world already. South Korea, Japan, in ITU, we discuss in detail in Geneva as well as in Bangkok. Why Hong Kong is not possible, why somewhat about 200 kilometers down in China, it's a huge success stories as it's happening with the USSD and other different set of CDMA1 model down there. So telco having a rough time, we are debating whether to give the license to them. It start with the transfers. If they can have a stored value, if can transfer mobile credit in different forms, it can also happen. What is necessary, why I feel